Welcome to the Legacy Leaders Podcast. Are you doing the best for your client to help them create their legacy? Are you creating a plan that goes far beyond finances to help people ensure that it becomes the driving force behind all decisions? On this podcast, hosts Katie Beth Hand and Stan Miller will help you with growing your practice and your clients' peace of mind. Together, they bring the best and brightest minds to share with you how to help your clients develop their best legacy. And now, here are your hosts, Katie Beth and Stan.
Hi, and welcome to the Legacy Leaders Podcast. I'm your guest host, attorney Adam Diamond with Diamond Legal in Northern Illinois. Diamond Legal is your family's law firm, helping with divorce, wills, trust, and real estate closings in Northern Illinois. Today, I'm really excited to introduce my guest, financial planning expert, Rachel Hook with Beacon Advisors here in McHenry. Rachel, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
So Rachel, we'll get right to it because I'm really excited. I love your story. I kind of already know it, but I want everyone else to hear it. So tell me about your journey or why you became a financial advisor.
Well, I think we can start with my journey a little bit. That probably would be helpful. So I started with Beacon Wealth Advisors as a receptionist, and my intention was to really only be with Beacon Wealth Advisors as a stepping stone, but it turned into so much more than that. I spent 3 months at the reception desk before I was asked to move back into an operations role where I supported my advisors. And in that position, they learned that I could provide more service to our clients in a better way than what they were currently using me. So after being with Beacon Wealth Advisors for 9 months, I was asked to obtain my licensing so I could become a financial advisor. And in this role, it's just reinforced my love for helping people. I get to take a big, scary reality and break it down into bite-sized pieces and show my clients that we can manage their investments in a way that helps them achieve their goals.
Wow, that is quite a journey. So now, how would you describe what you do?
I help my clients figure out what to do with their money. I help them locate investment opportunities that fit not only their goals, but also their comfort level with risk. My priority is to ensure that my clients understand why I'm placing them in an investment and why it fits their situation. But long story short, I help simplify the complexities of investing.
So you don't just have someone throw their money at you and you get them this awesome, unrealistic return. You do a little more than that?
Correct. I like to take into consideration their whole picture and their goals. There is a psychological piece to financial planning and a psychological piece to retirement planning that matters. I'm not going to put somebody into something that makes them uncomfortable or with a level of risk that could, harm their nest egg. We spend 48 years typically building this nest egg, and I don't want it to just wither away because we pick something risky.
So it sounds like you customize a strategy for each individual client.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like there's a lot more to measuring what success looks like than just specific return on a specific investment.
That is right. My definition of success is knowing that my clients can sleep better at night.
Yeah, that's a great definition of success. And I bet you a lot of well-sleeping clients agree.
I think so. I hope so.
So this is part of the Legacy Leaders Network. And one of the things we talk about a lot is estate or legacy planning. How do you think what you do ties into that?
That's a wonderful question. Adam, I know you put a lot of thought into consideration and the preparation of your trusts and estates, but we both know that how wonderful a legal document may be, it can only help our clients if their accounts are registered or titled appropriately. That's where I can add value. I can make sure that my clients' accounts are set up appropriately so that the legal documents that you prepare can help them when the inevitable does happen. In the same sense, when our clients do pass away, I get to help their children and beneficiaries navigate the transfer of assets. They're already navigating grief, and I want to lighten their load as much as possible by taking the burden of that asset transfer off their plate.
That's fantastic. So you not only work with the individuals, but you're also able to help their family if and when they move on or pass away.
Absolutely.
Now,
And they don't. Go ahead. I don't need them to stay clients. I take a lot of pride in developing the relationships with my clients. And if that's just one last thing I can do to honor them, I have no issue with easing that burden as much as possible.
So if a person is interested in financial planning, but they don't have an estate plan, they haven't done a will or a trust or anything, knowing that you're not a lawyer and can't do the legal stuff, can you at least help them have homes for things if they pass with like beneficiary designations?
Yes, so we do take that into consideration when we are structuring our clients' accounts as we bring assets over. We want to make sure that all of our accounts have the appropriate beneficiaries set up so that hopefully we can avoid probate. But that's all we can really do is just making sure that those beneficiaries are set up appropriately. If it's a little bit more complex than that, I really like to point my clients to the professionals who have, the understanding and expertise in that area.
But it's really important for clients to potential clients and future clients to understand that at a minimum, having a discussion with your financial planner about beneficiaries, even if you're not ready or you don't have anything in place, there still can be a lot of assistance with that just at a basic level.
Absolutely.
You have plan A, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what does financial planning or legacy planning mean to you?
A wonderful question. To me, it means that I am able to just help my clients achieve their goals, right? So we have these conversations all the time. What do you want to do in retirement? What does that look like for you? Some of the conversations that clients might not anticipate having with their financial planner is, when you pass, where do you want your money to go? And what does that look like? There are strategies that we can use on our end to make sure that if a client's beneficiary might be a little spendy, there are tools that we can use that spread out that inheritance so that they can't get themselves in a bunch of trouble. So it's nice to provide, that help along the way and even past them.
Yeah. So you look at more than just managing money. It's the big picture of how that fits into the client's goals, future, and their family legacy.
Correct. Yeah.
What are some common issues you help with or challenges people go through that you're able to assist with?
I think one of the biggest things that I help with is retirement income planning. I want to make sure that my clients know they're going to be able to buy groceries every month, know that they're going to be able to pay their gas. That's my number one priority, is that retirement income planning. But another area where I get to help and do enjoy helping is consolidating 401ks. There's multiple career changes throughout somebody's life, and they have all these 401ks sitting out there, but it's nice to consolidate them and bring them into one place so that they know what's going on with it. And they're not just like, well, it's just over there and I think it's okay. It's nice to bring that clarity.
Yeah, that's a huge benefit because a lot of us are getting more and more fragmented as things are here and there. So if someone has multiple 401ks or retirement accounts from former jobs, are you able to look at them with them and help them decide whether or not it makes sense to consolidate or?
Absolutely. And there's multiple avenues for consolidation or, moving those 401ks to make sure that they can grow or we can even protect them in a way that, suits their needs or their risk. Like we talked about earlier, is their risk tolerance, their ability to take on certain levels of risk and being able to bounce back if something does happen.
What are some common misconceptions about financial planning or what you do?
Okay, my favorite misconception is that whenever somebody tells me I don't have anything to invest with you, you know what? You might not have hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe not even $5,000. But if you have $100 a month that you can set aside, that can do something for you, especially if you can start sooner than later, because the best asset you have when it comes to investing is time.
That's very profound. Can you expand on that a little bit?
I think it's Albert Einstein. He says that the seventh wonder of the world is compound interest, right? So it's crazy to see what $100 a month can do over a 20-year time frame. If you just even taking into consideration like huge market events, it's something that can still grow, that can still work towards your goals. Yeah, I don't know. Compound interest is spectacular.
Yeah, I remember seeing those examples if you started investing like 6,000 a year in your 20s.
Hmm.
And I forget what that ends up being at retirement, but it ends up being a lot.
Yeah, I have illustrations that I could use, but I don't have them right now.
So no problem. So can you think of a story of a client come to you when things weren't going well or went wrong?
Yeah, so this client is actually very important to me. I'm going to change her name for confidentiality reasons.
Hypothetically.
Yeah, and so her name is Emily. And Emily came to me as a referral from a tax advisor. When she walked in my door, I could just see that she was carrying a huge burden. And I really didn't understand what that burden was until we sat down together. Her husband, Frank, was diagnosed with dementia, and it had progressed to the point where she could no longer care for him by herself. And I mean, that's heartbreaking. But then she had to bring in an in-home caregiver, which we all know is wildly expensive. So she sat across from my desk and she came in with a banker's box full, full of files and folders of their investments and where it's at and what everything was looking like. And she told me, she goes, Rachel, I don't know how I'm going to buy groceries. I don't know how I'm going to feed myself. I don't know how I'm going to keep Frank home. And I don't know how I'm going to pay the in-home caregiver. And so I sat down with her and she had a nest egg. She certainly did. But unfortunately, the financial services professional that she was working with did not have a plan for them in this situation. They did not take into consideration any long-term care needs for her or her husband. So I'm sitting across from her, flipping through a banker's box of documents, trying to figure out what we do to make sure that she can eat and that her husband can age in home. Fortunately, like that wasn't something I can solve sitting down with her in 1 hour, but she let me make copies of everything. And as I'm going through this, I learned that 90% of her assets were locked into investments that had withdrawal penalties.
Ugh.
So that means that if she needs to take out $10,000 to pay for the in-home caregiver from one of those investments, she'd have to pay a 15 to 50% penalty on that to the insurance company. On top of that, she would still need to pay taxes. But I was able to sit down and kind of peel through everything. I called a couple of those different like investment companies, and we were able to keep her husband home until he passed. And then her assets freed up a little bit. So we kept her husband home, we kept them fed. And yeah, that was my most heartbreaking situation that I've had to navigate so far.
Well, and I was going to ask you about a win, but I think you just described a huge client win.
Yeah. Oh, it's one of my favorite client wins so far, I think.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. And I mean, sad, but inspirational story and finding a way to navigate it.
Yeah.
And
And
that,
it's all puzzle, right? And it's just finding the pieces and where they need to go. And yeah.
what do you think is one of your biggest challenges right now?
Oh, that's a wonderful question. I'm very excited about what I do, and I love problem solving. I think it's just exciting to me. And when there's an uncertainty that like hits my desk, whether it be like an income gap for retirement or a need for life insurance, the wheels start spinning, and there could still be clients sitting across from me, and the wheels start spinning, and I'm just like, oh, we could do this or this or this or this. I'm just throwing everything out there that I can think of, and it's very exciting to me, and I enjoy the puzzle of it. But I need to channel that energy a little bit differently and maybe share one or two options or possible solutions rather than like sharing the 10 that I'm evaluating instantly when they come across my desk.
Yeah, that's passion is a wonderful thing, and I completely understand that. But I bet you a lot of clients, regardless of maybe sometimes temporarily presenting a couple more options, love the passion and the energy.
I hope so. And I think so too. It's kind of fun. I have to step back and just be like, okay, I know I just threw a lot at you, but let me break it down and we'll go through two or three options at our next appointment. That way they have time to just decompress after receiving all that information. And I have time to just slow down and evaluate things a little differently.
That's great. What do you like best about being a financial advisor?
Oh, it's definitely building the relationships with my clients. If I told you I liked watching the stock market and everything that it's doing, I'd be lying. It's all about the relationship with my clients and being able to share their journey with them, but also, make things achievable as well. I think that that's awesome to just be like, hey, like I have a client who now feels comfortable vacationing in retirement because of me and the way that we were able to structure things. And it's just, you can't buy that. That's so validating.
Absolutely. Who is your ideal client to work with?
My ideal client, someone that I feel like it can add the most value to, is someone who's about 5 years out from retirement, or they're hoping to retire in 5 years and are overwhelmed of the idea of it. I feel like I can sit down with them and really just show them all of the possibilities and help them, retire comfortably.
How would this ideal client find you?
I think the best way would be to call me. They can reach me at 815-385-3899. I prefer calls.
That is fantastic. And we'll put a link in the show notes to how to get a hold of you, your website, and more information. So thank you so much, Rachel, for sharing your story and all the great information.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
Thank you for listening. This has been the Legacy Leaders Podcast with your guest host, Attorney Adam Diamond. My guest today was Rachel Hook with Beacon Advisors in McHenry. For more information about who she does, you can visit her website at mybeaconadvisors.com. Did I get it right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you again, Rachel, and we'll talk to you soon.
You've been listening to the Legacy Leaders Podcast with Katie Beth Hand and Stan Miller. For more information on them and the show, please visit pinnaclelegacylaw.com. If you like what you've learned today, do share the program with your friends and subscribe wherever podcasts are found.